Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my channel that is Conceptual Knowledge. So, today we are going to discuss the topic of class 8, and this is one of the means very good topic of class 8. And this topic we have taken from chapter that is light, and the topic is the human eye, as you all can see. So, let us start without wasting any time. Okay, so the human eye. Let us first of all understand about the eye. That what is the eye? Eye is a natural device with the help of which we are able to see this wonderful world. Obviously, light is also responsible for the for this happening, for this vision, and by the combination of light and eye, we are only able to see this real world. But today we are going to discuss first about the eye and how does the light helps us the eye to see the object. So let us start. The eye enables us to see the various objects around us. Good. The main parts of the human eye are cornea, iris, pupil, ciliary muscles, eye lens, which is a flexible convex lens. Yes, it can compressed and it can elongate with the help of the ciliary muscles. So that we'll see right now. Retina is an optical film and the optic nerve, rod cells and cone cells. So that all we'll see in details. First of all, let us see the picture of the eye. So this is the picture of the eye. As you can see, the ciliary muscles is shown, iris is shown there, lens, cornea, optic nerve, retina, all things are shown here. So this picture I had taken from the NCERT book, and other side you can see one picture of eye is also shown. So this is the cross sectional view of the eye. It means from the eyeball we had just cut it and try to shown the things from the inside of the eye. Okay, now let us discuss in detail about the eye. Okay, the first thing, our eye is shaped like a ball. We should know this. It has a roughly spherical shape. It's not properly spherical, roughly spherical. The outer coat of the eye is white. The outer coat of the eye is tough so that it can protect the interior of the eye from damage during an accident. Yes, the outer coat should be, tough so that it should protect the interior part. Okay. The front part of eye is called cornea. As you can see in the picture, this is the front part, the bulging part. So all of you keep this picture in your mind, and now I'm reading one by one the functions and about all the parts of this eye. It is made of transparent substance and it is bulging out. Okay. The light coming from an object enters the eye through cornea. Okay, the main function of the first interaction should be done at the cornea only. The main function of cornea to protect the eye. The main function of the cornea is to protect the eye. Yeah, but it helps us. But it also helps in focusing some light by its converging action. Yeah, because if you see that the shape of the cornea, so it is a converging shape, so it converges the light. Okay. Okay. Just behind the cornea is the iris. Now this is one of the very good thing. Iris is the colored part of the eye. Whatever color we found the different peoples are having in their eyes, that is just because of the color of the iris. Like we say someone is having the color brown colored eye, someone is having the blue colored eye, so and someone is having the black colored eye. So why these things we are saying? Just because of the presence of the different colors of their iris. Okay. Okay. The iris has a hole at its center which is called pupil. The pupil, obviously there is a hole between the center point of the iris, that is called the pupil. Pupil appears like a dark spot in the center of the iris because no light is reflected from it. Yeah, no light is being reflected, so it appears dark. Iris controls the amount of light entering the eye, but adjusting the size of the pupil. Sorry, by adjusting the size of the pupil. Okay, so iris controls the amount of light entering the eye by adjusting the size of the pupil. Okay, so this is the size of the pupil which allows the light to enter through it. It seems like sometimes we see that if we are out of the house, then we see huge light. So at that time, the intensity of light is very high, so our pupil size reduces. But when we are in the house where very light is very dim, so we are unable to see initially, but slowly we start viewing the things. Why? Because the size of the pupil is being enlarged. Okay, the iris is actually that part of the eye which gives the eye its distinctive color. Okay, let us move on now for the next thing, that is eye lens. Behind pupil is the eye lens. Okay, behind pupil is the eye lens. Okay, yeah. The eye lens is a convex lens made of transparent and flexible material like jelly. So this is the information about the eye lens, that it is made up of a jelly like substance, transparent, flexible. Okay, the eye lens is actually a living lens because it is made up of transparent living cells which allow light to pass through them. Yeah, because everything is made of cells in our body if you see. So obviously light so lens is also made of cells only. So the eye lens is held in position by ciliary muscles which whose one side is attached to the lens and the other side is attached to the eyeball. Yeah, ciliary muscles holds the eye lens. Okay, now the ciliary muscles can change the curvature of the eye lens and make it thin or thick according to the need of the eye. Yes, this is one of the very important function of the ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles holds and can change the curvature of the eye lens. It means can reduce the focal length of the eye lens or can enhance, also increase the focal length of the eye lens to focus the particular object to see it clearly or distinctively. The ciliary muscles can change the focal length of the eye lens according to the requirements of the eye to see distant objects or nearby objects. Yeah, according to the needs, it changes its focal length. The focal length, hence converging power, yeah, of the eye lens is controlled by ciliary muscles. Yes, this we know. Yeah. So some more things is written about the eye lens, thus about the ciliary muscles and its converging lens. So the eye lens is a flexible convex lens whose thickness and hence focal length or converging power. Focal length is obviously it's a converging power can be changed by the action of the ciliary muscles. Yes. On the other hand, a glass convex lens has a fixed thickness due to which its focal length converging power is also fixed and cannot be changed. Yeah, like if we see the glass lens which we are founding in our day by day life or the practical life, so that is not going to change its Focal length because it is made of glass, and glass cannot expand or reduce as our eye lens can do that. Okay, the next is retina. The retina is a screen on which the image is formed in the eye. Yeah, this is a film I told you. It is a type of a screen on which the image is formed, which is made of tissues. The retina is behind the eye lens at the back part of the eye. The eye lens focuses the image of an object on the retina. The retina is attached to the optic nerve. Very good. The optic nerve carries the image formed on the retina to the brain in the form of electrical signals. Okay, I hope you people are understanding. Yeah, so the retina is there to have the image of the different objects which we want to say first, which we want to see. First of all, that image is going to be formed on the retina. Okay, and that image is going to be converted now electrical signals and then sent to the brain through the rods and cones cells. That is the optic nerve. Okay, the space between cornea and eye lens, initially the cornea and eye lens is filled with viscous liquid called aqueous humor, and the space between eye lens and the space between eye lens and the retina is filled with another liquid called the vitreous humor. So we'll see now the functions of aqueous humors and vitreous humors also. So this is the thing, like where they are going to be placed. Between cornea and the eye lens there is aqueous humor, and between retina and eye lens there is vitreous humor. So this is a liquid, okay, present in the eye. The eye also have eyelids which prevent any object from entering the eyes. Yeah, this is also for the production. Sorry. The eyelids also shut out light when not required. Yeah, when we sleep, so it shut out, so we are not going to allow the light to enter into our eyes and to disturb us while sleeping. So this is one of the very important function of the eyelid. Okay, now let us learn about aqueous humor and vitreous humor. Aqueous humor. So with the statements only we are going to understand about it. The clear watery fluid between the cornea and the front of the vitreous. It means before vitreous it is occurring. Okay. So the aqueous humor bathes and nourishes the lens and maintains pressure within the eye. Okay. So this is the function of aqueous humor. So it bathes, nourishes the lens and maintains the pressure within the eye. Since the lens and cornea have no blood supply, lens and cornea is not having any blood supply. Okay, this is according to the medical background. So the aqueous humor performs the blood's job of carrying nutrients to those structures. Okay, so these are the informations about the aqueous humor. Now next, let's talk about the vitreous humor. What does the vitreous humor do? The vitreous humor performs a vital role in protecting your eye. Obviously, yeah. So the vitreous humor performs a vital role in protecting our eye. Vitreous humor performs the protection work. Most importantly, it helps it to hold its spherical shape. Yeah, the spherical shape of the eyeball is very important, and that is maintained by the vitreous humor. The vitreous also comes in contact with retina. The light sensitive tissue at the back of the eye that acts like the film of the camera. Okay, let us move on now. Now, working of the eye. Let us try to understand the working of the eye fastly. When we look at an object, then light rays coming from the object enter the pupil of the eye and falls on the eye lens. Yeah, this we are knowing. This is actually the mechanism of the eye. Now the eye lens is a convex lens, so it converges the light rays and produces a real and inverted image of the object on the retina. Yeah, you need to be sure about this, that this eye lens is convex, is a convex lens, so it will obviously converge the rays on the retina and make an inverted image, real and inverted image. The retina has a large number of light sensitive cells. When the image on the object falls on the retina, Then the light sensitive cells generate electrical signals. The retina sends these electrical signals to the brain through the optic nerve, and we are able to see the object. And one of the wonderful, very wonderful thing which our brain does, what is that? That it transform, okay, that is, it changes the inverted image to erect image. Like, it appears to us that the actually the object is erect as it is in its original position. Okay. Okay, now let us discuss about the functions. Okay, the function of iris in people. The iris automatically adjusts the size of the pupil according to the intensity of light received by the eye from the surroundings. Okay, if the amount of light around us is very high, then as during the daylight, it then iris contracts, the pupil makes the pupil small, and hence reduces the amount of light entering the eye. Yeah, we had already discussed this thing. If the amount of light around us is small, as in a dark room during the night, then iris expands the pupil, makes the pupil large so that more light can enter the eye. This is because we need to allow more light to go into the eyes when the outside light is dim, so as to see properly. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the rods and cones. So the retina of our eye has a large number of light sensitive cells. These are two kinds of light sensitive cells on the retina: rods and cones. First, rods are the rod shaped cells present in the retina of an eye which are sensitive to dim light. Rods are the most important for vision in dim light, as during the night. Rod cells on the retina do not provide information about the color of the object. Cones are the cone shaped cells present in the retina of an eye which are sensitive to bright light or normal light. Cones also cause the sensation of color of objects in the retina of the eye are responsible for color vision. Okay, now let's see the blind spot. At the junction of the optic nerve and retina in the eye, there are no light sensitive cells, no rods or cones, due to which no vision is possible at that spot. This is called the blind spot. Okay, blind spot is a small area of the retina insensitive to light where the optic nerve leaves the eye. When the image of an object is formed at the blind spot in the eye, it cannot be seen by the eye. Blind spot is not sensitive to light because there are no light sensitive cells like rods or cones in this region. Okay, next is persistence of vision. Yeah, if we look at the object and then close our eyes, the image of the object will remain in our eyes for very short duration. Thus, the image formed on the retina of the eye does not fade away immediately. So it means the image of that particular object is going to persist on our brain, like we keeps seeing it. Okay, the image of an object seen by our eyes persists, that is remain on the retina for about 1/16th of a second, even after the object has disappeared from our view. So this is the property of our eye, and this is called the persistence of vision. This happens because the stimulated light sensitive cells of the retina take a little time to come back to the original state. Yeah, so this is the reason, you can say, because obviously for functioning of anything it takes some time. So this is the time duration for it to just get back to normal state. So that's why we are about to see that that image is going to stay on the retina for 1/16th of the second. So the ability of an eye continue to see the image of an object for a very short duration even after the object has disappeared from the view is called persistence of vision. So this is called the persistence of vision. Now this persistence of vision is going to be applied for viewing the moving object, like a still object as a moving object. We are going to see, like we are going to see the movie. So that is going to be discussed over here. It is due to the phenomenon of persistence of vision that we are able to see movie pictures in a cinema hall. This is because if the still pictures of a moving object are flashed on our eyes at a rate faster than 16 pictures per second, then due to persistence of vision, the eyes perceive this image as moving. So we perceive this image as moving our eye. So obviously if our eye perceives it, then we will also see that like that only. The movies that we see are actually a number of still pictures in the form of a long film, which are taken in proper sequence with a movie camera. These still pictures are projected on the screen of a cinema hall at the rate of 24 pictures per second, which is obviously more than 16 pictures per second, which is faster than 16 pictures per second with the help of a film projector. Under these conditions, the image of one picture seen on the screen persists on the retina till the image of next picture falls on the screen, and so on. Due to this, the slightly different images of the successive pictures present on the film merge smoothly into one another and gives us the feeling of moving image or movie. Okay, now let us see range of vision of a normal eye. The farthest point from the eye at which an object can be seen clearly is known as the far point of the eye. The far point of a normal human eye is at infinity. Okay, the nearest point up to which the eye can see an object clearly without any strain is called the near point of the eye. The near point of a normal human eye is at a distance of 25 centimeters from the eye. The near point of an eye, also known as the least distance of distinct vision. This means that the least distance of distinct vision for a normal human eye is about 25 centimeters. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic, that is, yeah, you should know the least distance of distinct vision, that is 25 centimeters. Now visually challenged persons can read and write. Those persons who are unable to see are known as visually challenged persons. Such persons develop their other senses most sharply. They try to identify things by touching and by listening to voices more carefully. The most popular resources for visually challenged persons which can make them read and write is Braille. Braille is a written language for the visually challenged persons in which the characters are represented by patterns of raised dots. So I think you people are understanding this very easily. The visually challenged persons recognize the words written on a braille sheet by touching the patterns of dots. It means by just touching they are going to understand that what is actually written. So this is one of the trait of a visually challenged persons, and this trait is being it means being used to just read them. Okay. So the Braille was developed by Louis Braille, who was himself a visually challenged person. This is a Braille code for common languages. There is a Braille code for common languages, mathematics, and scientific notations. So that's it for today. I think we had done a wonderful work of just understanding all things about, means almost all the things we had understood about the eye. So that's it for today. Thank you, my dear students, for viewing my video. And if you have any doubts, so you can ask me anytime in the comment box, and I'll try to put up the link of this PDF also in the video. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.